I did a thing. I read 17 books in August and the month's not even done yet, which I'll explain in a second. But yeah, we're wrapping these up today. So, as it sits at the moment, it's the 23rd of August. You might be thinking, Beth, why are you filming your wrap up on the 23rd of August? Well, I'm trying to save future Beth next week because on Wednesday next week, I head to Vietnam very, very early in the morning and I would need to film this video either on the Monday or the Tuesday, probably the Tuesday, and I have got so much going on those days already that I thought, you know what? I'm going to do myself a favour, I'm going to film it early and accept that maybe I will finish one more book before the month is out. I'm not going to finish more than that, I don't think, because this month has been filled with me filming all sorts of content to cover me for the next month whilst I'm away. So I have read so much more than I would usually. I, this morning, finished my last book for videos, and I'm just so proud of myself for everything I've read. I'm so pleased with everything I've read. I've had some great reads, some not so great reads, but generally some really great reads. And I've just finished my last vlog to cover me whilst I'm away, which honestly I've been working on for like 2 months. Like all of these vlogs, not just that one vlog, like all of these videos I've been working on for so long, and it just feels so good that I've done them all and I'm so proud of myself. This is the last video I have to film, but I have finished all my reading vlogs. So with that being said, this is my August wrap up when I read 17 books. Actually, we're going to say 18. We're going to give a quick honorary mention to Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung. This is a book I'm currently in the middle of. It's a collection of short stories that are horror themed. I am halfway through it. I think by the time August ends, I will probably have finished reading this. So we're going to kind of give an honorary mention to an 18th book read, which I think is going to be this one. I don't think I'm going to finish a great deal else before the end of the month. As I said, I've been reading a lot for videos, and I think I just kind of want to relax and read something a little bit slower. But we will give honorary mention to this. I don't know what star rating I would give it though, so we're going to leave that out because it's lots of short stories. I feel like I'd have to rate them individually, but it's interesting. The first one was my favourite, The Head, I think it was called. That was very strange, but very intriguing. The first book I finished in August was She Is a Haunting by Trang Than Trang. You're going to see this one in a video coming very soon. In fact, you're going to see a lot of these in videos coming soon if you haven't already seen them in videos. This one is a gothic horror set in Vietnam following our main character who has gone to stay with her dad for the summer in Vietnam. She's not got the best relationship with him, and then she starts to notice some hauntings going on around the house that he's converting to become an Airbnb or a B&B. This has a really spooky gothic atmosphere. I think it nailed that really well. It's got some really interesting conversations from our character about her relationship with her dad and also her experience in Vietnam. She's also forming a relationship with a girl that lives near this house that they're renovating to try and like solve/convince people that these hauntings are really happening. So it's an LGBT romance in there as well. I had a good time with this. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It wasn't like quite 5-star level, but I think that the atmosphere was really good and I really enjoyed the gothic elements of it. Then I read Greek Lessons by Han Kang. This one is one of those ones where actually after finishing it hasn't stuck with me too strongly. This is very short. The writing style kind of goes off in fairly different directions. It's following 2 different characters who come together when they really need each other. One of them is not able to speak and the other is losing their sight. And they kind of form this friendship with each other or connection with each other off the back of that. Honestly, this is a lot of backstory to each character and less about their relationship with each other. That is more something that kind of comes in later in the book, and it's a very short book, so it's mostly a kind of backstory to each character and how they got where they are now. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I've at times was just not quite connecting with it. It wasn't quite for me. It's one where I can see that it was written beautifully and I can definitely see why people would love this, but it wasn't quite for me. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. It's Women in Translation month in August, so a couple of these you will see are women in translation. This is Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk, I think. This is a kind of observation type novel following a woman who witnesses some murders and she kind of decides to try and look into it and find out what's happening. It's got some interesting angles that it takes. It's slower in pace and kind of a bit jolty again, like it kind of goes all over the place at times. It felt a little erratic in the narrative, but I found it kind of interesting with the mystery element, but it didn't quite grip me as much as I would have hoped it would have. I don't really have a great deal to say about this one, to be honest. It was okay. It's a 3-star. It's an average read. It was fine. I liked, I think, the start better than I liked the middle to end. once things started happening. But then actually, no, sorry, I did kind of like the end. I think there was some interesting moments at the end. I'm not really sure. It was kind of average. I don't have a great deal to say about it. 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Woman in the Purple Skirt by Natsuko Imamura. This is following a character who is observing this woman in the purple skirt. The woman in the purple skirt is kind of famous in the neighborhood and everybody knows who she is and is kind of fascinated by her, especially our main character, who takes that fascination to extreme levels. This is a really interesting people watching novel, like, that's kind of really amped up. I found the main character fascinating to witness and to see her thought process and kind of her justification of being really, really obsessive over the woman in the purple skirt, and also at the same time finding out more about the woman in the purple skirt. This was done in a really interesting way. I think the concept of it was really clever, and the kind of the way that it staged the story throughout was really good as well, and the way that it fed you more information. The pacing was really well done, the execution, generally everything about this I really enjoyed. It took an angle that I didn't necessarily expect it to take as such, and I liked that, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Bleeding by Johanna Gustafsson. This is spread over a couple of different time periods where we're following different women who have had various different circumstances befall them. There is a link of black magic between all of these, and there's also a detective in the present day who is trying to figure out some stuff as well and kind of links these stories all together. This is really dark, very gothic, black magic, and a kind of fierce story for women as well, and what women are capable of and what they want to be capable of. I love the pacing in this. I think it was really fast paced to push you through and merge all the timelines together. I think I am starting to enjoy more and more books that kind of jump between multiple different time periods and multiple different narratives. I usually don't like it when we switch narrative perspective because I think it jolts you out of the story you were in. However, this one kind of went back and forth so often that it tied it together really well, and I do also think that is a trait. The more I read, the more I am enjoying that trait now, to be honest. The only fault I had with this, and the only reason it sits at a 4.5 and not a 5 star, is I felt the ending was very rushed. It's not the longest book, but I felt like we had all these big build-up moments, and the ending kind of brought everything together in the space of about 10 or 20 pages, and I just wanted a bit more information there. I wanted to dig a bit more into that, so that is the only reason it dropped out 0.5 of a star, but I think this was fantastic, and I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Faster I Walk, The Smaller I Am by Kirsty A. Stomsvold. I'm going to put a picture up here because this book, this is the sticky book. If you've watched the vlog, you will notice the sticky book. I got a secondhand copy of this and it arrived like really, really sticky, and I'm not keeping that copy, safe to say. This is following a woman who is kind of wanting to seize life and do all these things, but she tries to do all these things and then kind of gets battered down and it doesn't quite work for her, and she never really gets to do them in the way that she expected to do them. Honestly, I expected more from this. I thought this was going to be like a journey of self-discovery, and we were going to go on this journey with this woman and do something other than just live her day-to-day life, but really that is what this was. It was very calm and I suppose wholesome in the sense that there was no real high stakes. It was just kind of her existing on day-to-day mundane things, but there was also kind of a sadness about it as well. I again feel kind of average about this one. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Looking back on it, I feel like it might be lower. I don't know. I didn't love it. It was fine. It was fine. A lot of these books, I'm looking at the review, the number that I gave them, the star rating that I gave them, thinking, really, pass, Beth? This is World War Zed by Max Brooks. This is it's a fiction that reads as a non-fiction about a history of the zombie war. This is lots of different interviews, like loads of different interviews with different people that were involved in the zombie apocalypse for whatever reason, and our main character is interviewing them to kind of form this book together. So what's frustrating about this, and also the thing that's good about this, is it reads like a non-fiction history book, which means you are getting snippets of each story, but you're never getting the end of each story. So you might get a snippet that ends on a cliffhanger and you will never know what happens, and that is really frustrating. Obviously this is a fiction, so I think it's really clever the way it's been done, and I think that style is certainly very much a stylistic choice that a lot of people probably will enjoy. For me, I wanted more of the story element to be there. This was part of my vlog where I was reading zombie books. If you would like to watch that vlog, I will pop a link up here. And I was just really trying to find something that had everything. This one gave me the action that I wanted from like the kind of breakout of the zombie apocalypse, how that happened and how people were experiencing that, but it never really gave me the story and the connection. So it gave, but it also did not give everything. So I gave this one a 3 out of 5 Clever concept, not really clicking for me. What did click for me though was Seat of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. This book, wow, this was so good. This is set in a futuristic world where there are colonies on the moon, Earth is still a thing, and time travel's a thing. We're following a couple of different stories and characters that you're not really sure how they intertwine initially. And there's time travel involved where one of our main characters is kind of trying to figure out this mystery via going back in time. There's a theme of music running through this, which I really enjoyed, and writing and just kind of the passion of creating. I don't think I can say much more than that without spoiling it, because honestly, the way that this just is written, exquisitely beautiful, great execution of everything knitting together, really clever. I want more of this. I steer away from the sci-fi genre, but I think really what I'm steering away from is the space-based sci-fi genre. And yes, all right, there are colonies in the moon, so it is arguably space-based, but I mean more like the alien war kind of sci-fi genre. This kind of sci-fi, I want more of. If you have any recommendations for books like this, please let me know. I do want to check out other writing from this author, although I think Station 11 is more kind of apocalyptic type of thing. This does have a large amount of talk about pandemics as well, just to make you aware. It is part of the plot, and I think it's done in a really interesting way. And that's all I'm going to say. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was phenomenal. It was excellent. Chef's kiss. Fantastic book. We're getting the stack down. It's dwindling. Okay, then I read Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong. This was pinned to me as Antony and Cleopatra meets The Hunger Games. So I had high expectations. I really did. And I think because of those expectations, it didn't live up to them as much as I was hoping to. This is, I think, Chloe Gong's adult debut, I want to say. Am I right with that? Maybe? I don't know. Don't quote me, but I think it is. So we're following characters in this world in which there's this huge televised fight to the death with, you know, glory and fame and money as a prize, I think. So we're following the characters who are taking part in this for various different reasons. It's a political fantasy. People can jump from people's bodies as well. Like, you can project yourself into someone else's body and like basically take over their body, which is a really interesting concept, especially in a game where you're trying to kill everybody. Like, how do you know who you're killing at just a glance? Like, you have to kind of know other things, and like they all have these wristbands on. Anyway, the whole jumping element I think was really interesting, and I think they explored that quite well. What I was let down by in this book is I was kind of hoping there would be this big arena fight moment. Like, when something says it's like The Hunger Games, it's hard not to go there and think about like how epic the moments could be. I mean, like, The Hunger Games did something so fantastic when it captured everybody with the way that the stakes, the tragedy, the brutality of it, and I was really hoping that this would kind of mirror a bit of that, and it did have the high stakes and the brutality and the kind of the snap action moments, but do you know what I wanted? I wanted a big arena fight moment where you didn't know who was going to die, you didn't know who was safe, and it didn't really do that. It was spread out over this whole city, so you didn't really get that focused in version of events, and I think that's what was appealing to me about this book, and it didn't quite do that. If you're just mainly here for the political fantasy side, for the romance side, I think you will enjoy this, and I did like those sides of it, but I just wanted a little bit more from it, unfortunately. I felt at times I was getting quite bored, and it felt very repetitive. I was being told the same thing quite a few times, so it just didn't quite click for me. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Then I read Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. This was our book club pick for July and August for my Patreon book club. If you would like to join that, it's available to anyone in the Rivendell tier. There is a link down below. This is a satirical historical fantasy, great fun adventure following a group of people who are mercenaries in a band, not a musical band as past Beth did think, but like a band of mercenaries basically, and they're all retired essentially. They've all very much changed since their days of being in this band, but one of them needs help, and they all get back together to help their friend. And it's a brilliant story of friendship, of family, of just everything that's great in a fantasy, big epic collaborations between people and moments of coming together, and all the fights and battles along the way. The stakes are high, the action is high, the relationships and friendships are so good. I loved the friendships so much in this. They just all cared about each other so much, and they all just respected each other, and I love that. I love that, and I love the journey this went on. The ending was so fun. It did a really great summary at the end, and I really enjoyed that, to look back over the book and like see what happened to all the characters by the end. I just thought it was so good, so I'm probably not really like giving you a good structured review of this, because I just really liked it and it made me really happy, and I think when a book can do that, that's great. It was funny as well. It was so funny. Lots of laugh out loud moments in this. It's no surprise I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It's been a good month, actually, for 5 stars. I've had 2 5 stars so far, which is, I think, more than I would normally. Is there any more 5 stars? There is. Spoilers. There's another 5 stars coming up. Anyway, I really liked this one. Then I read Yinka, Where Is Your Husband? By Lizzie Damalola Blackburn. This is following our main character Yinka, who is trying to get a date for her cousin's wedding. Her mum is very much invested in her love life and wants to try and help find her a husband, and her aunties are all praying for her to exit singledom. And she just has lots of pressures around her to try and find a partner and also just kind of work out who she is and what she wants out of her life. And this is the journey we go on with her. It's a contemporary, it's got a romance element, it's funny, it feels very friendly and warm hug-esque, and it was a nice fun journey. It was a really easy read, and I think when I've been reading actually quite a lot of kind of hard-hitting books this month, looking at this stack, it was nice to have something to break that up, and I did enjoy this. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I made my camera overheat, but we're going to talk about First Time for Everything now by Henry Fry. This book was promised to me in the cover to be like In at the Deep End and Ghost, both books that I have rated 5 stars. In this book we're following Danny. Danny's relationship has ended, he's been booed out of his home, and he's had to move in with his best friend Jacob. Jacob is the best thing in this book, just saying. Jacob is a ray of sunshine, I love them, they're great. Danny, not so much. Danny is going on a journey to find himself in this book, and it's very much a journey of self-discovery and a redemption type of story, but in the middle of this, Danny is just not a likeable person at all. He's not being nice to people at all. Now, I want to take it with a pinch of salt because his mental health isn't in a great place. There's so much in this, though, that I feel like was just forgiven immediately within this book. Everything that Danny did that was bad, and there was a lot, just felt very easily forgiven, and I didn't love that side of things. It just felt a little bit to me. I didn't sit right. There was also a lot of use of homophobic slurs in this book, and whilst I think they were being used to shock the reader, I just felt like they didn't have a place personally for me. That's just my opinion with it. This book is really positive for the LGBTQA+ community. There's a lot of characters in that community in this book, including Danny himself, but it felt like the slurs weren't needed, and I did not... Yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about this one, to be honest. I'm really not. I think I was expecting one thing and I didn't get that. I was expecting it to be really funny and really a fun journey, and whilst journeys of self-discovery are always going to be difficult, I just kind of thought that there would be a little bit more of a balance throughout it, and it didn't give me these things, and I'm really unsure. I talk a little bit more coherently and intelligently in my review for this, which I think will be coming out in like a couple of weeks from when you're watching this, which is going to be my summer reading vlog, so keep an eye out for that. But I don't know, I've given it 3.5, sorry, 3, not 3.5, I've given it 3 out of 5, mainly saved by Jacob being fantastic. I really, really, really disliked Danny, and I think, I'm trying to think about whether I liked them before they started acting like an absolute shit, and I don't think I did, to be honest. I don't know, I don't think I did, so generally, they let it down for me. 3 out of 5 stars. Sorry, this probably hasn't sounded very coherent, but yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. Then I read A Tidy Ending by Joanna Cannon. This is following a woman who notices things that people don't often notice and is noticing things linking together a series of murders that are happening in her small town. She is an interesting character to follow. She's definitely very observant. I'm trying not to say anything that could be a spoiler. I don't know what I can tell you other than that. I was promised this book by 2 different booksellers was the best thriller they'd read this year. And unfortunately, it was not that for me. It fell flat. I felt like the pacing was not enough to keep me hooked. I didn't really like the main character all that much, and I didn't really feel invested in what was happening. But I think for some people, this might be just like the perfect kind of thriller for them. We do have a series of murders. We do have things kind of linking them all together and questions being asked and threads being pulled at. So there are interesting sides there. We're looking into our main character's kind of purpose within this plot and their inner thoughts about things. And I think that's all I can tell you without accidentally spoiling any of this book. It was meh. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. We're nearing the end. I then read How We Fall Apart by Katie Zhao. This is following a group of students. One of the students has died, and these students are all being put under the limelight because of a series of anonymous messages that are being posted on this messenger board. Is this an actual thing? Do schools in America have like community message boards? Because I did not have this for my school in England, and a lot of the, especially thriller, a lot of the YA thriller books I've read have got this messenger board thing. Is it real? Please tell me. Anyway, they are seeing these anonymous messages that are revealing secrets about each student. They have to try and work out who is posting this up before all the secrets were revealed and basically take the heat off of them for making it look like they committed this murder. It's a YA thriller. It was fast paced. The stakes are pretty high. There's drama. It's kind of Pretty Little Liars-esque. It was fun. I had a fun time with it. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I definitely don't connect with YA in the way I used to, but I'm very aware I'm not the target audience anymore for this book. I was just reading it for a good time, and a good time I did have. Then I read Frankenstein by Jeanette Winterson. I don't even know how to tell you what this book is about. We're following two different plots, really. We're following a fictional biography of Mary Shelley's life, and then a storyline in which AI is becoming more and more powerful and sex bots are being created, and there's kind of conversations about the right to create life and what life is, and all of these different things going on. There's lots happening in this book. Again, I give more thoughts about this in my summer reading vlog as well. I don't even know how to describe it any more than that. It was a strange read. It felt like kind of two different stories, but at the same time I know they were linked together because of the idea of creating life. There were parts in this book that I did not click with, and again I go into much more detail in the video that I filmed. The writing style was really beautiful and very lyrical and very, like, just flowed really nicely. No speech marks though. No speech marks. This is a Sally Rooney situation, and I don't like no speech marks. It throws me, it disjoints the reading experience, and I don't really know what the point of not having speech marks is, personally. The plot itself was, I suppose, posed some interesting questions. There were some odd moments in the plot as well, and some not great moments. Watch the vlog that's coming out to get more of my thoughts, because I'm trying to do this speedily, but I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars and I'm not really sure what my thought is on this. I don't know. This really did throw me, as you can probably tell from my bumbling attempt at telling you about this book. Then I read Kim Ji-young, Born 1982 by Cho Nam-ju. This is a fantastic book. It's very short, but it's following one woman's life and every pressure that is on her from society and every direction she's kind of being pushed and pulled in, and how she feels about all of that and her mental health throughout that as well. It's really interestingly done. There are facts littered throughout this that back up everything that's being said, so it's kind of got a little bit of a non-fiction element to it, and I find that absolutely fascinating. It had so many hard-hitting moments for such a short book, and really talked about the conversation of equality and the responsibilities of women versus the responsibilities of men and the expectations on both. I think it did such a fantastic job of discussing the contrast between men and women and the roles and the responsibilities and everything, the expectations of society placed on them. It was great. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then I read my final 5-star read of this video of the month. Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. This book, I listened to this as an audiobook pretty much throughout the month of August. This is fantastic. We are following a generation upon generation of one family over 100 years, initially in Korea and then going over to Japan. And we're following each different member of this generation. It kind of, the story filters down to each character, but we still get to like see everyone else that we've already been following throughout their experience living in Japan and being from Korea. It was just, oh my god, it was good. I have just spent a long time talking about this book for the video I read it for, which is reading books set in Korea, which will be coming very soon as well, so keep an eye out for that. But oh my gosh, it's a beautiful, beautiful story. Seeing characters go from childhood to adulthood and being able to follow them along in that journey just gives you such a connection to those characters, and it feels so strong and intense. It's a really sad story, but there's also a lot of uplifting moments in it as well, and you just feel really proud of these characters anytime they achieve anything, because you feel like you've known them since they were children, and you have. It was just done in such a spectacular way, and it felt so emotional. It was so strong and bold and just fantastic. I really, really loved this, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Oh my god, that's my 17 books. Okay, I read 17 books. That's the wrap up. Now I can't finish any more books until the month is over. No, if I do finish any more books, I'll just pop them into my September wrap up. I don't know. Now I knew this day would come when I'd finished filming all these vlogs, but now I've finished them all, I'm just kind of in this moment of like, what do I read now? Because obviously I love reading for videos and I love setting myself challenges, and the books that I read for videos are also still books I really want to read, otherwise I wouldn't pick them for those videos. But when I don't have to read for specific videos, I am now at a point of like, I don't know what to read. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. That is my 17 book August wrap up with an honorary mention of number 18 for Cursed Bunny. It's been an amazing reading month, so many different books. Thank you for coming along for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.